Hello everyone, welcome to Chasing a Murder. And today we're doing a story that's coming out of Guatemala. A beautiful 29-year-old yoga practitioner, Nancy Ning. She is from Monterey Park, California, and had planned a week-long trip to Guatemala. That was around October 14th of 2023. She was staying on a piece of property that was located within a volcanic crater that was near Lake Atitlan. It was considered a very relaxing getaway, and according to her family, this was a relaxing and beautiful area. She had left her home in California around October 14th of 2023 and was due to return about a week later, October 22nd. Nancy's beautiful spa days would turn into a mystery and a nightmare for her beloved family. Her family says that she never returned back from this trip, and that on October 19th, they got this phone call from the area she was staying at saying that something might have been wrong, that something happened to their dear Nancy. Nancy would not return from this beautiful yoga retreat that she knew so well. In fact, this would be her second trip to this same location because she liked the first trip so well. Nancy seems to be a very smart girl. She studied at Cal State for law. According to Nancy's sister, she said that Nancy absolutely loved this retreat. She loved it for its beauty and its serenity, its ambience. When she was there, she enjoyed waking up early so she could catch some alone time before joining the group. Her sister explained that this year would be more exciting because the yoga group wanted to spend more time on the lake. One of the last known tips that they got was that before her disappearance, she was last known to be kayaking with a group from this retreat. Right now, the Guatemalan government is leading the search for Nancy, but the FBI and the local search groups, and as well as the rescue teams, have also joined in the search. Here's a clip where they say that her father was the one that received a phone call from this retreat.
A few days into this trip on October 19th, her father says he received a strange phone call from the retreat center saying something had happened to Nancy and she was missing, but the details of her disappearance painfully sparse.
It's been around 18 days since her family has heard anything from Nancy, and all this family needs and is asking for is help to find and bring their daughter home. Her family says they know this is a race against the clock and that it's a never-ending nightmare just not knowing what happened to her or where she is. And right now, the family is very worried that Nancy's going to be forgotten, that she might become a cold case. If that happens, people may forget. Nancy's sister shares a few moments of how she spent her time with her sister before she left on this trip.
It was like a joint birthday celebration, so we had a family dinner. And we didn't know that'd be the last time that we'd see her. We just really want to find Nancy and bring her home. We want the truth. We want to understand what happened. She had gone on the same Guatemalan yoga retreat last year as well. Same host, mostly the same itinerary as well. But she loved it so much, she wanted to go back again.
Nancy's family has hired professionals to help them search for answers, even talked to a few potential witnesses, but they're not getting any straight answers or any help from these witnesses. This raised a lot of suspicions for this professional as well as the family. Why would they not want to give them straight answers? And for the guy that's investigating us, he says, well, this is probably needing to be turned into a criminal investigation. Since Nancy's disappearance, they have had searchers scour the lake area by air, foot, even beneath the surface. But there's no signs of Nancy anywhere. This also raises several red flags for people searching for Nancy. They have searched 95% of this lake. This is according to Chris Sharpie, who is with the Guatemala-based Black Wolf Helicopters Search and Rescue. For Chris, he says he's found nothing. This is leaving him to wonder if Nancy ever went kayaking at all. Adding that together with the fact that the witnesses aren't really forthcoming, there you go, just more and more red flags. Hopefully these witnesses will understand the more that they talk, the better off they are. The families even reached out to the witnesses themselves and said that they're just not really getting anything.
We don't really know exactly what happened. The witnesses that were able to see what happened have not been extremely communicative.
The Ng family was unable to provide more details about those potential witnesses or what they may have seen on the advice of their attorney. But they tell us the Guatemalan Navy stopped its search after 72 hours, prompting them to hire a private company to scour the volcanic lake from the air using drones and helicopters.
So it seems that the family knows a little bit more than they can share with us. That being the case, kind of suggests this could be criminal. And what in the world could the motive have been?
We searched pretty much 90% of Lake Atitlan. I can't confirm she ever went in the water. There were witnesses who've now returned to the United States who've not been forthcoming. It could potentially be a murder or a homicide. We don't know.
So make sure that you check out this whole story after you watch this video. It's starting to sound very suspicious. And Guatemala, well, it has a history of having missing women, according to the UN. Well, in Guatemala, there are at least 2 women who are violently killed in this country every single day. They say there is a femicide crisis there. Guatemala, along with its neighboring countries like El Salvador, Honduras, and Mexico, it has one of the highest rates of femicide in the world. So the local women in the area are struggling every single day. This must or should be a red flag for women who want to go to these countries and visit. So I'm going to do a super quick overview on a few instances or events that happened there. Not great events, mind you. In 2016, Lydia Janet Garcia, she's gone missing with no trace as to where she's at. Her remains are actually discovered in an orchard at the mile 6 at Stand Creek Valley Road. They do an on-site autopsy. She has a head injury, and they later determined this to be a murder. They learned that her remains had been there for about a month. A more popular story is that of Catherine Shaw, a British lady, says that she was staying in Guatemala with some friends, about 4 to 5 people. She too was a former yoga teacher, only 23 years old. She was reported missing March 5th of 2019. CCTV footage actually captured her going in and out of her hotel all night, and at 5:30 in the morning, she was seen walking her puppy barefooted, where she left behind her phone and her passport in the hotel room. She was also said to have been given away a few things, according to a friend, before she disappeared. Now that's a red flag. Long story short, days later, they discover her. Her remains are near the lake. However, it was her jacket and the lonely, shivering puppy on top of the what they called Indian Nose, the hiking trail. They found her remains. She had no clothes on. They discovered that she had a head trauma. A later autopsy will claim that they believe that she had had a fatal accident. The fact that her clothes were no longer on her were kind of concerning for me, but according to her parents, they probably believe that this was an accident. She had multiple injuries, including she was hemorrhaging from a brain injury. But why would she climb to go see a sunset barefooted and with a tiny puppy? And how is it that the puppy was in a completely different place? For me, it just seems like something's just very suspicious. At least they should take a closer look at some of these incidents happening there. Emma Gomez actually wrote an article addressed Missing Women's Act. In the article, it says that there are about 5 women that disappear every day in Guatemala. The circumstances in which they go missing are all different. Many of them are tied to domestic violence. Since the Women's Act 2017, at least according to an official estimate, which I just did a quick research on this, they say that there's 3,670 women that have been reported that actually disappeared in the past 10 years in that area. This is including 428 who have yet to be found. And I didn't know this. There are over 5,000 women and girls who were violently killed in Guatemala between 2008 and 2015. The worst part about this is over half of them, these victims, were minors. So I just want to bring a little bit of awareness to that. I mean, this was just really quick research. I'm sure there's more to it for any of you sleuths out there that are interested. Now let's get back to Nancy May. So we've heard from her sister that Nancy does like to go on walks alone. And could she be stuck somewhere surviving off what she has surrounding her after having an accident? So time is very crucial if that is the fact. Hopefully these people who are with search and rescue have considered looking at hiking areas. We haven't heard anything about whether or not they have CCTV footage of her last days. We heard that witnesses are kind of sketchy when it comes to, sharing information about her last sightings, at least. I mean, we can't even say because we're just not getting any information here. I do know that her family, they're having to finance this themselves. And if you can, head to their GoFundMe and try to help this family out. I have heard that in the investigation there is kind of not the best. Now, what we're hearing from Chris Sharpay, the owner of the Black Wolf helicopters, he's saying that there's just no collaboration. They have no idea which direction she went in. They just have no idea where to kind of start. So Jared Lopez is Nikki's partner who launched a GoFundMe for Nancy. These funds are paying for things like the helicopter searches, the teams, equipment for divers, boat rescue teams, and so on. And as you can imagine, the travel expenses themselves are going to be expensive. I was about in tears listening to her sister think the worst of, they may not find her and that this may turn into a cold case and people will forget about her. Sad but true. People like Jasmine Robinson, 23. She vanished. She was pregnant. And we have an idea of what could have happened to her, but we just need people to come forward and share some tips. Then we have Kiara Coles, another expectant mother, a postal worker that has been missing. Still, we have no answers. We have an idea. We just need some people to come forward. Then we have the young and beautiful Dulce. She was in New Jersey at a park when suddenly her mother couldn't find her. We still have no answers and no idea where Dulce is. Then you have Donita. She is a mother that was predicting that she may have some trouble in the future. And even with some CCTV and stuff, they still have no answers. So I want to send my love out to the Nancy's family, and I am praying that you guys find answers and you're able to bring her home safely. Sending our love. Love you. See you guys soon.